Hello, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Jack gets mad at me today.
Brandon does something he shouldn't.
Oh, I didn't.
Subscribe, comment.
Just watch and enjoy. Somebody's got a birthday today.
Who?
Somebody, our little Aggie.
Oh, God. Why'd you have to do that?
Our little mom, Kayce Smith. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
28 years old.
I heard 27.
27 years
going
old.
backwards.
Yes.
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, I'm going backwards. I'm not a huge birthday person.
Not really, no.
No, I'm not.
Snuck up on me. I didn't realize
My
it was.
birthday did?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I don't really remind you. Maybe
Yeah,
I
you
should
don't.
remind you.
You never do. I would have bought you something.
No, you wouldn't have.
I would have. You helped me buy my wife her birthday present.
I did do that.
2 weeks ago.
You also promised that we would return to the exact same place to get me something similar.
It's right down the road. We could go.
Yeah? Do I get a similar gift?
Money's a little tight right now. Little tight.
So I don't get a similar gift.
Similar. It depends on how far we stretch the word
You get
similar.
the glass version, not like the full crystals, but like the fake.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I don't get a real diamond is what you're saying.
Cubic zirconia.
So it was very funny because we did go pick out his wife a gift, and obviously we're walking up to the jewelry counter together. I am showing that I have a human growing inside of me.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, we're here to get my wife a birthday present." And every single person looks at me and goes, "Oh, happy birthday." I was like, "Oh, no.
I mean, it is your birthday, too.
Well, right. But he thought, people thought I was your wife.
Well, I was telling them every time you would turn away, I'd say, look at my old lady here. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet?
That's the same day that the NYPD officer
Shouted out
was
to
shouting
us,
us on his little, I say little, that was really,
Little speaker.
on his speaker through his phone.
How's your
Fuck.
birthday been? Good?
It's been fine. I got pumpkin spice pancakes in bed this
Last
morning.
birthday you'll ever have, not being a mother.
Yeah, and I didn't really process how different that will be. Like, I guess you don't even
The only birthday that'll matter to you from now on will be the one that the birth of your child.
Yeah, you know what's bullshit? Laura Rutledge, I've talked about her a few times.
Yeah.
Her daughter's birthday is the same day as hers. I'm like, that's the best thing ever because you never have to care
that's a
about your
good day.
birthday ever again.
It's a good day.
No, I got my pumpkin spice pancakes in bed this morning, and I'm good to go.
Pumpkin spice pancakes. You're so white.
So white.
So white.
So white. But you know what? They were fucking delicious.
Were they? What was that? On my phone. I should turn my phone down. Excuse me.
Who's Nitro Z on your...
Stephen Che.
Oh, nice.
Should we do
Everybody has a nickname in my phone.
Yeah,
Except for you.
Yeah, I think mine's just Jack.
You're Jack Mac.
And then Jack Mac.
Podcast co-host, Instagram intern, Jack Mac. You are in the phone, though.
It is a compliment.
Noah, we need to get Noah in your phone.
Oh, there's no chance Noah's getting my phone.
It
takes years.
We have a group chat
with
with Noah without you in it.
Yeah, that's
because I
true.
know you don't want to be in it.
Y'all have okay, that's probably for
You're
the best.
left out. It's the rest of us.
Is that why our group chat hasn't been very active lately?
No, we don't really talk that
No,
much.
you don't respond. I've put all the Halloween costumes.
I don't be
and no
doing
one...
group chats.
You don't read
I
it
know whatever I
anyways.
need to know. Katie will
That
bring
is
to
true.
me.
That's why we...
Right.
You don't read shit.
I don't read shit. That's right. And
all
in
right.
fact, I kind of want Katie to be in all of my one-on-one texts with other people, so she can just come to me and say,
What are you, Russell Wilson now?
Yeah,
like,
I kinda want
you want to talk to you have to go through
yeah,
Katie?
like the next time we're having a personal conversation, let's just loop Katie in so she knows what you want to say
Did
to
you
me
get
and stuff like
did
that.
you get it working, the thing that you picked up on Sunday, or no?
Oh, it's working.
Okay, nice.
Oh, it's working.
You're perfect for that.
My God, I have had so much fun the
That's
last couple
awesome.
days.
It's either a sex thing or a video game.
No.
It's a video game.
There we go.
Oh, I'm about to say, you think Brandon's
Less
going
of
to the
that.
sex store?
Less of that.
Yeah.
It's a video game that was up here.
And
Sex video game?
No.
Oh, he said a little bit of that. I don't
There's
know.
literally, what, a billion games on
There's
there?
140,000 games.
There's got to be VR
What is it?
versions.
No, it's...
I don't want to bring attention to
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's just a cool video game thing.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Let's talk about football, shall we?
Hello. Welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's College Football Podcast, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. I am banging on the tailgate pack.
It sounded funny.
That's a bang right there. It wasn't a literal.
Banging on the tailgate.
Banging on the tailgate. Something I've never done.
Oh, bullshit. You're from Mississippi.
I had a Jeep.
What, none of the girls you dated had tailgates?
One did. Okay. one of the best looking tailgates I've ever seen too. I got the tailgate pack right here. The High Noon tailgate pack. It's got the cranberry, the pear, it also has the black cherry and the grapefruit, but there's so many great flavors in the High Noon universe. There's lemon, there's lime, there's peach, there's watermelon, there's passion fruit, there's mango. So many flavors out there. You can get tall boys. If you are going to a football game or just watching a football game, you better have some High Noon near you.
I'm going to share this again. I shared it on a recent episode, but my girlfriend did it another weekend. It was another hit, taking the cranberry High Noon and making it into like a punch for a tailgate with like real cranberries in
cheating.
it. Why?
Feels like cheating.
But it tastes delicious.
People
so who
think
cares?
she made this incredible.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not? Let High Noon do it for you.
And Kate, I've already talked to the advertisers and to the people that need to know, and I've talked to Kayce, and she's okay with this. Since Kayce is now with child, and we have the peach bath ready, I'm going to be taking the bath in the peach High Noon very, very soon.
Really?
Yeah.
I was told they were going to wait until I could start drinking again.
Oh, I thought I was going to be in the peach High Noon bath.
I mean, people probably want that.
A sexy peach bath.
Are you going to sell the bath water?
Oh God, yes.
Why not?
I'm going to put it in a punch bowl at a tailgate.
Oh,
Let people
gross.
What's
think.
the next when you guys for the yak when you all bring in ingredients?
Yeah, the
Like-
next draft.
Yeah,
You bring in your bath water? Ew,
Just
God.
relax.
Sorry, no offense. I think any man's bath water sounds disgusting.
I love
Machine Gun
taking
Kelly's?
baths.
Well, that's different.
He's a man.
It's different, though.
Justin Bieber's.
That's also different.
Tom Brady's.
It's also different. But you just named my top 3.
Am I missing somebody?
Matthew McConaughey.
Yep. There's number 4.
Do we round up the top 5? I don't remember the top.
I have one that might. What, Lane Kiffin?
No, Katie,
He's not
come
hot.
on.
He's not hot.
Well, that's not true. We don't, but come on. I mean, no offense, but
He's not in the level of. You're just telling me that he's not hot.
no, I did not. Hot and drinking bathwater are 2 wildly different levels. And
Is that
you know
what people
that.
do when they drink bath water?
No, it's like people, like, you know, the saying, it's like, oh, she's so hot, I would drink her bathwater.
Okay.
I'm thinking now if Brandon takes a
I think
bath.
Kevin
and-
Durant said that about Scarlett Johansson on Twitter once.
Probably. It sounds
Kevin
like something he
Durant's
would
so
say.
hilarious on
I
Twitter.
know, yeah.
Michael
He's
B.
just a
Jordan.
blogger that happened to be
Yeah.
7 feet tall.
Michael B. Jordan, he would also be, I drink his bathwater.
I flew from here to GTR, Columbus, Mississippi last
Yeah.
week, and my flight attendant was a gentleman, and he looked exactly like Michael B.
I thought
Jordan.
you were going to say Michael B. Jordan was flying in a GTR,
No.
and I was like, for fucking what?
First of all, we have wonderful golf courses down there and great restaurants, and people fly into there all the time. I once saw Michael Jordan playing golf out there.
I assume they fly in on their own
Steve
little PJs.
Steve Harvey owns a stake in the golf course out there, so we have many famous people. Come
So
through.
your flight attendant was smoking hot.
He was a good-looking guy, and I wanted to say, but I didn't want to offend him. I'd be like, "Hey, you look like Michael B. Jordan," and I didn't want him to get offended.
That no one on this planet would be offended if
Have
they
you
looked
heard
like
this?
Michael B.
I
Jordan.
think told a story on this podcast about what I told the cop he looked like.
What'd you tell him?
I said, you look just like Jameis Winston. Have you ever gotten that? He didn't like it one bit.
Jameis Winston isn't good-looking though, like Michael B. Jordan is.
Michael B. Jordan's so hot.
We were in Florida too, so I thought maybe it was his brother.
Or maybe he's like a Florida
Well,
fan.
he's from Alabama.
I know, but I thought maybe like
Well, that's not far.
it's not that far.
Yeah.
And
Where's he from? McAdory? No, he's from
like the coast.
Boaz, Suez. No,
Mobile, near Mobile.
no,
I
he's
think.
higher than that. He's higher. He's like he's in the lower east quadrant. Not Boaz. What's his hometown?
He was born in
Bessemer.
Alabama.
Huh?
Bessemer, Alabama.
Bessemer. But that's where he's born. That's not where he grew up.
Jameis.
Do high
Winston,
school.
High school.
Hueytown.
Yes, Hueytown.
Hueytown. Okay.
Hueytown?
Now I need to see a map where Hueytown is. I think it's in the lower right quadrant, but it's off the coast a little bit. Okay, well that's okay. It's been near Rock Creek. Oh, it's right outside Bessemer, which is near Birmingham. Yeah,
Hoover. It's right by Hoover.
yeah. So he's in the Birmingham metro area. I didn't know the Hueytown was there.
Right by Tuscaloosa.
I said he was from
That guy right there, one of the best college quarterbacks of the last 20 years, and he's that close to Tuscaloosa, and he went to Florida State.
Wow.
That's when Jimbo knew how to coach, though.
I knew that was coming. And as soon as Jack said Jameis Winston, I was like, somehow this is going to turn into a roast about.
Well, it's not a far leap to go from Jameis Winston to
I
Jimbo.
know. That's why.
We'll talk a little Jimbo. All right, on this show, here's what we're going to do. I got to ask a question to you guys. I guess I could lead off with this. We're also going to do – it's going to be a question show because we're going to let the fans – it's a Q&A, an old-fashioned Q&A.
Q&As.
We'll get to an old-fashioned Q&A in a minute. Before we do all that, this Saturday, the Barstool College Football Show, of which two of us are on stage and one of us is backstage. It is me and Kayce will be there along with Dave Portnoy, Dan Katz, Big Ev, for the first time ever. Barstool, big Saturday, 2 shows, 2 states in one day.
I'm so excited.
We start our day in State College, Pennsylvania at 10 a.m. at the Tau Kappa Epsilon House at Penn State. 10 a.m. at the Ohio State-Penn State game, we'll have show number 1. We then get on a plane. We fly to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where at 5:30 p.m. Eastern at 1300 South Main Street in Ann Arbor, Michigan, we will do a second show in advance of the Michigan State-Michigan game.
Which is also the same place we had it last year.
And the same place 2018. That is the
For Michigan.
spot for Michigan. So 10 a.m. Brandon, would you let them know what the time zone will be?
Eastern.
10 a.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I figured they knew if they were in Penn State.
Yeah,
They
but
knew
now
what time
I feel
zone
like
they were
now
in.
from now on we just got to remind the people.
Yes.
So 10 a.m. and a 5:30 p.m. show, and I asked Pete, All Business Pete, who obviously is always in control of all these things, how nervous he was from a standpoint of doing 2 shows,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, it's nothing like what we're gonna have to do for the MAC shows you're doing later in the year." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "We'll have 2 sets. It won't be an issue." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, I think
So-
for the MAC shows, they're going to do a show, pack it up,
that sucks.
drive all night, do another show.
Yeah. We're gonna be all over the place.
Yep.
We're having like a fleet of private planes, which is kind of cool.
Yep. So we are headed to Penn State, and then we're headed to Michigan. A Big Ten Saturday for us.
And you know what's going to be great is that Dave will get to be the most hated person on the planet and the morning show because he hates both Ohio State and Penn State.
Yeah.
And then we'll go be the most loved man on the planet in the same few hours.
Yep.
More than Big Ev at Penn State.
Big Ev will be fine.
I mean, Dave plays the heel with Ohio State and Penn State and then goes to Michigan. Like if the show was at Michigan State again, he would just play heel all day. But it's gonna homecoming, and then he's Dave and he hates. I think he's gonna have to decide which school he hates more when he gets there.
I think he hates Ohio State the
Definitely,
most.
but he also talks a lot of shit about Penn State too. So
All right. So we'll get to the news in a minute. I have a question. And, Jack, I want to bring you in for this opinion question, okay? I'm going to ask this question to everybody. Am I too negative
In life?
in general,
when it comes to college football? Because if we look at the AP Top 25 right now, and it's ahead of us right now, I'm looking at it, there are several teams this year that are enjoying good years, We talked about TCU the other day. They're undefeated. And I looked you dead in the eye and said, Jack, I don't buy them. I just don't buy them. I don't buy them as a threat. In fact, I think they might lose at West Virginia this week. So I don't buy them. But I've already talked about them. But I look up and down this top 25. Illinois right there, number 17 in the country. They're 6-1. Syracuse, number 16. They're 6-1. South Carolina has snuck in at number 25. They're 5-2. I don't believe any of those teams are legit real. I think Syracuse is going to come home to lose to Notre Dame this week. I think South Carolina is the biggest fraud in the top 25 right now because I think they're a product of their schedule. A&M falling apart, and then they got to play Kentucky without Levis. Am I too negative? Should I let these teams be good and just shut up?
I don't think that you should just completely shut up. However, my counterpoint to this would be, what the fuck does it matter if they're in the top 25 at the end of October to you?
Well, it doesn't, but as we go forward, I mean, I'm always going to react to who's ranked, who's getting love.
Oh, no, I agree, and you should, because that's what we do here. However, it's kind of one of those pity things. It's like if Mississippi State right now is 25, you're like, okay, great, you're nowhere near the playoff. It's like, oh, cute.
Yeah, I just think as we figure out going forward through this 12-week season who's good, who's bad, I don't know. I always do a better job of finding the teams, or I always do a more thorough job finding the teams I think that don't belong, as opposed to maybe giving the credit to the teams that I should give credit to.
It's hard not to give credit to TCU so far, but you can give credit than also say I think the bottom will fall out at some point.
Yeah, I think the way I say it is the best way to say it on them. Like they've got 4 straight ranked wins, everything's good, but I don't buy them at all, and I think they're kind of a little bit of phony. I just don't. And that number 7 spot has been the spot this year. That's where teams get to, and then the balloon pops. It's where Arkansas got to, it's where Kentucky got to, it's where Ole Miss got to, and now TCU's there. That 7 spot's been bad luck this year.
I'm pretty sure that we were there at some
You think
point.
you got it set to 7?
I think we were at 7.
I think you were at 6 when you got beat. In fact, I know you were at 6 when you got beat.
6. So yeah, we wouldn't have dropped at 7. So the 6, 7.
I don't know why I remember that so well.
I'm trying to block it out. I feel like TCU is one that you've been too negative on because they could actually be in the playoff this year. Those teams like Illinois, fantastic season for them.
Let me say something right now. If TCU goes undefeated and goes to the playoff, it would be a disaster of epic proportions. The ass whipping that would occur then would be unparalleled.
But they could still do it.
We've seen some really bad ass whoopings though.
We have, but that would be among the worst. I just don't think this is a very good team. Their defense gives up way too many points. They've gotten so fortunate. Their offense has been able to pull their iron out of the fire a couple times, but going down the stretch of the season, if they're not getting breaks, if they don't hurt JT Daniels, can they beat West Virginia?
Well, hopefully they don't hurt JT Daniels.
Well, they're 4 for 4.
They didn't hurt. They did not hurt Spencer Sanders.
Well, he
was already hurt.
He got gimpy a little bit.
He was already hurt.
He hurt himself in the game before.
And in fairness, they were destroying Oklahoma before Gabriel got hurt.
Yes. That being said, TCU is a team that
they would not have beaten Kansas State if that quarterback doesn't go out.
That is correct.
You can't say that though. You just aren't.
I can say it.
You can say it, of course. I'm allowing you to say it, but you can't. You don't know.
But I can say it. You don't know the other way either. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know exactly.
If Will Howard, the backup, hadn't gotten hurt, they might have lost.
Will Howard got hurt later in that game. Now
they shouldn't have beat Kansas either.
Yes, they should have. They played better than Kansas that day.
If Jalen
Daniels was doing nothing against their defense.
I know, but Jason Bean did carve them up.
Yeah, well, he carved them up, but Jalen Daniels played for a whole half and did nothing.
Wasn't Kansas leading when he went down?
It was 7 to 7.5. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I will say that when it comes to the other teams that you're negative on, it's not that you're wrong. You're not saying incorrect things about them, but it also is just kind of like, let Illinois have a good season.
That's fine. Yeah, you're right.
They're not going to be in the playoff. Now, if you want to talk shit about SEC teams because you're an SEC guy, fine.
Pull up the AP Top 25 again. I saw something curious. No, it's right behind. It's right behind you there.
I know. What are you going to point out? What I think you're going to point out?
I don't know what you think I'm going to point out.
I'm going to point out the fact that regardless of how many times I see how bad the AP voters prove to be, week in, week out, year in, year out, who voted for Clemson at number 1? Who?
Yeah.
I understand that it's probably a Clemson homer, but that same Clemson homer did not vote for them in week 8.
It is weird. Last week in week 8, you had Georgia with 31 first-place votes. You had Ohio State with 17. You had Tennessee with 15. And then this week, after Tennessee just demolished a nobody, 2 people who voted them number 1 last week changed their mind. Like, what happened?
I mean, Ohio State destroyed Iowa.
Yeah,
that's
and then Clemson
fine.
beat
so
Syracuse.
2 people changed their mind, I guess.
But
it's just interesting.
The Clemson one is not.
All right, now here's my second question, then we'll get to the rest of the show.
Is that what you were going to point out?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the second question, and then we'll move on to the rest of the show. Assuming everybody in this room and maybe across the country believes that the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, is in fact the best conference this year, if you have a negative statement to say about that,
Joe Wilner was the one that voted for Clemson being 1. He's a Pac-12
That's the guy
reporter.
who broke the news about
John
UCLA, USC.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Assuming that the SEC, it is believed the SEC is the best conference in the country this year, here's my question to the group at large. Are you ready? Which conference is number 2? And I'll tell you my thought process behind this question. Because entering the season, you would have put the Big Ten and the SEC at the top, and then you would have filtered down below that. However, this season has shown the Big Ten has 2 potentially elite teams in Michigan and Ohio State, but after that, Big Ten looks like a steaming hot pile of garbage.
I disagree with that.
And the ACC has Clemson, has several ranked teams, but are they really good teams, or are they just ranked because they're playing each other? The Big 12 is not the strongest at the top, but it might be the strongest from 1 to 10. And the Pac-12 has legitimately 3 playoff contenders as we sit right now, and Utah. So who, pray tell, is the second best conference in the country?
It's still the Big Ten. Because
Why?
because you have a legitimate case right now, and I know they play each other, which again, I want to abolish divisions because of this, but Ohio State and Michigan are 2 of the top 4 teams in the country.
Possibly.
I understand that you're saying the Big 12 is across the board better as a
Yes.
conference. That doesn't matter to me when it comes down to the playoffs.
Okay, well,
the Pac-12 has 3 legitimate contenders to get into the college football playoff, but I know for a fact that both Ohio State and Michigan deserve to be in that conversation because they've been there all year.
Well, we don't know that about Michigan yet. We assume it, and we assume it about Ohio State, and it's probably going to come to light that yes. But the problem with Michigan, and the problem with Ohio State less so, Michigan's non-conference was trash, and then they get into the Big Ten, and if Penn State goes like 10-2, it gives them a good win. Other than that, outside of Penn State, there's nothing in the conference to test them at all.
I really disagree with this sentiment just because Penn State got blown out by Michigan that they're bad. Like, we don't know that at all.
I mean, Oregon got blown out by Georgia, and they're not bad.
Well, Penn State...
But Oregon has been able to beat other teams, whereas Penn State's best win is Purdue.
Penn State just beat Minnesota by 21 points.
Minnesota's not good either.
None
of these teams are good.
They're...
Minnesota's what, 3-3?
Well, I think we need to establish at some point, how do we determine do we call good, average, bad,
All right.
great? You know what I mean? Like,
Let me ask you a question.
10,
Let me
top
ask you a
20,
question.
top 30, top
Let's
40.
say we know who the top 2 teams in the Big Ten are.
Yeah.
Then we assume number 3 is Penn State.
Yeah.
Who's the 4th best team?
I still think after that, you're looking at decent teams such as Maryland's not bad.
I can't be your 4th best team.
Why?
I just don't think that can be your 4th best team.
Why? If Michigan's great, Maryland didn't play them that poorly.
I'm just having trouble
They struggle
remembering.
with this.
And then Wisconsin's gotten off the mat.
Guys, we're really stretching here.
We're stretching here, but here's my question is
who are we going to stretch for in the ACC then?
everyone except for Clemson and
Wake Forest
Wake?
I'm only being devil's advocate here.
I know.
Okay?
No, I know.
All right,
I know.
so you've got Penn State
Clemson,
6-1, Maryland
think you
6-2. That's solid, and then the rest of that division's pretty awful. It's god awful. Rutgers, Michigan State, Indiana. In the West, you got 6-1 Illinois, but then you got Purdue at 5-3, and nobody else in the West has a winning record. Minnesota has a winning record at 4-3.
Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa are not bad football teams.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I think Iowa is the definition of a bad football team this year.
They have a great defense.
They're 3-4.
They held an Ohio State offense. I know they didn't have a long fields.
They lost 54-10, man.
Yeah, but they lost 54-10 because their offense turned the ball over left and right.
I think we're propping up
But still the full
some
team.
mediocre teams in this Big Ten to make this argument.
But I think we would have to do that in almost every single conference. The way that when you talk about the best conference and what that means, I understand that if you look at from top to bottom, it's going to look different than the argument of who are the best teams in the country, which conference do they come from? They come from the SEC and the Big Ten.
I don't think that's true this year. I think we'll see on Michigan, Ohio State. They clearly have playoff reservations. They clearly.
I'm going to ask you.
Well, what?
Who's the second best conference?
I think it's the Pac-12. Pac-12 has 3 teams right now.
Jack did not like that.
They have 3 teams I think are legitimate contenders to make this playoff: USC, UCLA, and Oregon. Oregon's gotten off the mat after that 49-3 loss, UCLA and USC. And then you have Utah as your 4th best team, and they're a pretty good team. And then you have in the middle, you have teams like Oregon State, Washington, and Washington State who are not bad. Now, you have a drop-off, but fuck, Stanford at the bottom beat Notre Dame. Like, there's teams, Colorado's god-awful. But I don't think there's awfulness in the Pac-12 like there's awfulness at the bottom of the Big Ten.
I feel like that's a different argument because
Colorado's disgustingly bad.
Colorado's maybe the worst team in the
stinks.
country. Yeah,
California stinks. Arizona's not very good.
Here's my devil's advocate with Oregon, and I know that we've said we've put that loss aside. But if one of the arguments to make for the Pac-12 is that Oregon is a legitimate college football playoff contender and they got their shit kicked in against Georgia, that's a tough argument to say that they're the second strongest conference.
yeah
Because I don't think you would see Ohio State or Michigan get their shit kicked in by Georgia like
as
that.
I've said again, I really believe I don't believe in mulligans very much, but I believe that Oregon loss is inflated a little bit. The spot was just bad for them. 49-3 is hard to reconcile, but again, that's just one of 4 teams at the top of this conference I think are pretty good. I think USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, that's 4 top 14 teams.
And you're discrediting Penn State a little bit, you did. But UCLA just got blown out by Oregon.
By another team in this mix, yes.
Yeah, then Penn State got blown out by Michigan.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that. I do think UCLA was more competitive against Oregon. Penn State was not competitive against Michigan. Or not competitive.
I mean, yeah, they did have some breaks go their way to keep the score close, but yeah.
They were outclassed from start. That's just a question.
It's a fair question.
It's a fair.
I think it depends on how you truly define what a best or good conference looks like when you look at the Power 5. Because if you're talking strength from top to bottom, yeah, it's not the Big Ten. If you're talking about strength at the top,
I think it is. Top to bottom, it is.
I just think it goes to the bottom real fast, man.
I would say the SEC is stronger than the Big Ten.
Who's best conference? Of course, is the SEC.
Oh, okay, so from top to bottom too.
Top to bottom,
yes.
Big Ten is 2. Who's the worst team? Who's the worst team in the Big Ten? Rutgers.
Northwestern.
Yeah. Okay. Northwestern would definitely be favored over Colorado.
I agree with you.
Colorado's bad, yeah, but if you, I don't know.
Even Arizona.
I don't know, man. Northwestern's really fucking
What about
bad.
in the ACC?
They lost to
what?
The ACC. They would be favored against like.
They surely wouldn't be favored
right.
over anybody in the Big 12. Northwestern wouldn't be favored over anybody in the Big 12, and I don't know if they'd be favored over anybody in the maybe Georgia Tech. Although Georgia Tech's been not terrible. I mean, Northwestern's god awful. They also Southern Illinois. Yeah. If SEC is the best conference, which conference is second best?
You're tweeting that?
I'm tweeting
you know
that from
how
Notice.
many you know how many people are going to say that the SEC is not the best conference, and that's going to provide also
that's fine.
An equal conversation. I mean, the Big
I'm actually
12.
going to tweet it out from mine instead of unnecessary roughness.
I mean, Ohio
not that I have the password to unnecessary roughness.
You do.
You were texting me that.
Iowa State 0-4 in the Big 12, obviously not good. West Virginia, Oklahoma. The fact Oklahoma is 1-3 in the Big 12
Iowa
is
State's
crazy.
still a good team,
right?
There's not a bad team in the Big 12.
That's where I think that you could potentially make the argument that if you're talking about strength from top to bottom, the Big 12 would be the second best conference.
when is the Big 12 if it goes 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5? When's the Big 12 beating the SEC?
That's so that those to me, and this is where we always like to say, oh, it's caveats, oh, it's semantics. This one actually does matter. This is the difference.
Big 12 is second best.
So you would go SEC, Big 12, and then if you're talking about the strength of the
I
conference.
went Pac-12.
But again, I know it's like, okay, we get it. It's two different things. These are two different arguments. These are two different arguments.
They changed what the poll thing is? Okay, hold on.
You're fine. I'm just saying
Big 10.
Here are the FBS 10 conferences ranked by average SP
Big
plus
12.
according to Bill Connolly at ESPN. SEC 13.6 average SP plus. Big 12 12.0 average SP plus. Big 10 9.9 average SP plus. Pac-12 6.1.
All right, if the SEC is
the ACC 3.8
best conference,
average.
who's the second best conference in 2022? And I am tweeting that right now. We'll check back in on it in 5 minutes.
Here is the semantics that actually matter in this argument. If you're talking about the best conference strength from top to bottom, that is different than your conference being represented by its top teams. Because if you're talking about conference being represented by its top teams, it's absolutely the SEC and then the Big 10. If you're talking strength from top to bottom, I would say the Big 12.
I kind of disagree, and I'll tell you why.
It's all about who represents your conference.
In the Big 10, I think you've got 2 teams that can carry that. In the Pac-12, I think you might have 4.
But then when they get into the playoff versus the SEC, we don't know what's going to happen. And yes, I know you're saying you get a mulligan,
our history says Michigan isn't qualified to
but Ohio
to
State's there too, though.
Yeah, Michigan isn't qualified to beat an SEC team in the playoff.
We've also seen
Neither is Oregon.
Yeah, in this season, we have seen, like the very season that we're talking about, we have seen what happens, albeit I don't think it would be a 49-3 game again, but we have seen what the strength of the Pac-12 looks like against the strength of the SEC, and it is not good.
I don't know, man. I just think
Teams change.
We'll
Teams
see.
definitely change, and I'm not saying it would ever be that score
That's
again.
a one-game situation
but-
too. They've been
but-
so good in every other game but that one.
But if we're talking about strength in comparison to another conference, those things do have to be taken into consideration. Because if Oregon somehow gets into the college football playoff, the storyline will be, especially if they are the 1-4 matchup with Georgia or however it would be, the story like, well, they've played this season and
But
they
you
lost
understand,
49-30.
If they do get there, they will have had 12 wins in a row.
I do completely understand that.
We would have an amazing 16 playoff this
It would
time.
be so good.
Oh, 12-team playoff would be.
12 would be great, but
Yeah.
I think a 6-team or 6 would be
Bring
hard.
up the AP top 25 again, please.
Well, and that's why
You
when
could have Ohio State in the winner of the SEC or Ohio State.
Right now, if you just did a 12-team playoff, 5 versus 12 would be Clemson, UCLA in the first round. How fucking good is that? Then you have Alabama against Wake Forest. Then you have TCU against USC. How good would that be? Like it would be absolutely. I don't know why she's covering it up.
Because she's pulling up the what it would look
It's the
like
full
bracket
format.
form.
Oh, Ross Ellinger did that today.
Yeah, no, he does it every week. So this is what it would be like if it was
Michigan
selected
USC
today.
would be a great Big Ten
Look how,
matchup.
Oh my
look how
God,
bad
can-
it looks to have Tulane in there, though. They lost to Southern Miss. That should not be a playoff.
They
team.
beat Kansas State.
They lost to Southern Miss. Like, come on.
Also, Georgia Tulane would be an absolute.
We're also 1 week out from the playoff rankings coming out for the first one.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right.
USC Michigan. I mean that game alone. Alabama Oklahoma State.
USC Michigan with the winner getting Ohio State.
God,
How
I
about
wanna-
TCU getting the bye there?
Yeah.
That's.
Um,
God, I just want to expand the playoffs now.
All right.
This is why when you mention like the AP top 25, like if you're too hard on specific teams, like yes, obviously South Carolina at 25, they wouldn't, unless something crazy happened by the end of the season, they probably wouldn't be able to get to that number 12 spot. However, all of a sudden, then you do start looking at like number 17 Illinois, number 16 Syracuse, if it's a 12-team playoff, because they're right on that bubble of that. That's why those conversations will be so much more exciting in a few years.
So through
I got to go retweet
1,000 votes through 4 minutes. That's a pretty good pace. 1,048 votes through 4 minutes. The Big Ten getting 58% of the vote. Big 12 getting 22% of the vote. ACC 8% of the vote. And the Pac-12 12% of the vote. Huh. Interesting. Big Ten's going to win, obviously. All right, let's do some news items, and then we will get to the Q&A part of our
We can
show.
just skip this one.
We can't do it. The Jimbo Fisher era in Texas A&M is going to come to an embarrassing ending. That's just facts.
Going to. It already is.
It's just facts. He's losing. He had the number one class in the country, but I think we're starting to watch that class fall apart. And when that class falls apart, he's going to fall apart. 3 Texas A&M players reportedly suspended for smoking pot in a locker room before the South Carolina game. What?
Before the South Carolina game. I
Yes.
didn't know that part.
Did you watch
Yes.
him play? It checks out.
They did seem very lackluster, especially on the offensive line.
By the
Maybe
way,
Connor Wegman was one
please never use an Outkick.com story again. because
That's why I cropped
Tech-
it. You don't have to
Texas
say
A&M's so-called best class ever is apparently going up in smoke. Oh, my God.
in a
Ooh,
possible
here's the-
remake.
This is the good
I have
point.
some friends that work there.
I bet you do.
No, they're women.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Women work there?
Yeah.
Women work?
I know, it's crazy.
God.
So I thought CFB College Nerds had a good point of like, so saying the buy of all of that class is real. There's actually no buy-in to the team and the culture. Do you think that like
No.
we're gonna have issues?
And of course they're going to have issues when you pay for players, and this is not an A&M issue, but when you in the NIL era, when you pay for players, you're paying for that player's services. You're not paying for that player's heart and soul. You're just
Yeah.
paying for him to come be a hired assassin, and hired assassins don't work in college football. Like for whatever for whatever you say about Saban and Kirby Smart, they get guys to come there and believe and to play and act right. And Kirby or Jimbo is a classic case of just recruiting for rankings and recruiting for and getting a big time class without really considering probably character, without considering fit, because fit and character fucking matter. And now you've got a class that thinks they probably run Texas A&M University, and they probably do run Texas A&M University. Like if they all transfer, he's going to get fired. This is where NIL and paying players can backfire on somebody like Jimbo Fisher.
This tweet irritates me just from the standpoint of when it says Texas A&M absolutely bought that class.
They did.
They did, but everyone is buying their classes now. This is I understand that it's because it's A&M was the number one, and it was because it was such a big deal that it was Jimbo Fisher. Like, folks, every single school, every single program is going to be buying players from here on out because that's what the NIL deals have allowed to happen. That's just a fact. It's not an A&M problem.
Every school was already buying players,
yes.
But here's the thing. That's what makes the guys like Saban and Kirby elite. You buy them and you still make them fit into your system, and you still make them work, and you still make them turn out to be great players.
Yes.
Jimbo just went to the store and bought a whole bunch of ingredients, and he doesn't have the recipe right.
That is a perfect analogy because you can buy all the talent in the world. If you can't then get it to translate on the football field, then what's the point? That's what we've been saying forever about recruiting. You can have all the stars in the world, but if they don't play together, they don't gel well, it doesn't matter. But this is the thing, is like, they bought the class. Yeah, we know that. That's not been a question. The buy-in is a question, but now it's like it's complete disarray. There's no control.
He's had high recruits buy-in before, though.
Yeah, it is
and
weird.
I know it was a decade ago.
But this was historically the greatest class of all time.
Well, also you have to let it materialize. It's not. I'm not saying that
it's not going to, though. In the transfer portal era, it's not going to. It's going to slip through his fingers.
Yes. So I have one statement and question for both of you, and I'm really interested to hear your answer. But we have seen him put together great recruiting classes and put together good teams. Yeah. Like the team in 2020, that was a good team. The team last year that beat Alabama was a good team. This year just feels all sorts of off. Also, this class, nobody's saying a 5-star is going to come in at 18 years old and be amazing. It takes them a little bit. Also, my question for you guys is, what are the chances Jimbo's on the sideline next year?
That was my question as well.
Sorry.
What do you think Jimbo's coaching A&M next year?
I don't.
I do.
I do too, and I'll tell you why.
I don't.
I'll tell you why. I don't think this thing's going to fall apart in time to hire another coach. I think you're going to miss the hiring window because what's going to happen is after the season, you're going to see a trickle of transfers, and it's going to last for a little while. I don't think it's going to be immediate. Now, if it's immediate, if the last week of the season we're going in and 2/3 of that class says, I'm out of here, you might have a fired coach, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think the I don't is me assuming the worst is going to happen, and the worst that's going to happen, which is still a very real possibility, by the way, is that this team doesn't make a bowl game.
Well,
this team doesn't win 6 games, and then they have a mass transfer. Because the question about buying in is also, if this team wouldn't have gone 3-4, wouldn't be under 500 or 4, whatever it may be, I don't think you would see as many issues. If this team beats App State, this team goes in and has a winning record.
And you're not going to like it.
What is it?
A&M right now, as they sit, they're 3-4. Okay?
They're going to go 8-4.
They're about to win their next 4 games. They're about to win their next 4 games. I don't know. I doubt.
Then yes, he will be on the sideline if that's the case.
They're going to beat Ole Miss this Saturday. They're going to beat Florida at home the next Saturday. They're going to go to Auburn and play a fired coach. Then they got UMass at home. I'm telling you, and three freshmen got suspended for smoking weed. Well, guess what? 3 freshmen aren't a whole team. There's talent there, and we haven't found out who the 3 freshmen are yet, have we?
I saw some rumors. They're all 5 stars, but there were so many 5 stars. The only thing is, I also, just to be a Texas A&M advocate, which we often don't do on the show because it's been tough. Freshmen make mistakes.
Yeah. A lot.
Mac Jones had a DWI when he was a freshman.
Absolutely.
These kids, I assume, knew they weren't playing, wanted to get high. Stupid. They're 18. They get suspended. They get embarrassed. And you could right the ship, win the next 5 games. That being said, winning 5 games in the SEC, 4 of them are in the SEC, once against UMass, is a tough deal.
So to answer your question, is Jimbo going to be on the sideline, Jack? The answer is yes, if they make a bowl game. Because I feel like they can say, okay, we need 1 more year. I have a very hard time believing that all the boosters with all the money and all the ego, if A&M has the worst season it's had since 2008, that's the last time they didn't make a bowl game, they don't make a bowl game and the transfer portal is as crazy as it is, that he would be on the sideline again.
Let me offer you a deal right now, okay? You ready for a deal? You ready for a deal? I want you to say, yes, I'll take that deal, or no, I won't take that deal.
So this is a deal or no deal situation.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a bowl. I'm going to give you 6-6. I'm going to take half your class. Okay?
Okay.
and I'll give you Lane Kiffin to be your head coach next year. Do
Yes.
you take that deal?
I don't even have to think twice. What do you mean?
I'm just wondering if
I think
We've-
Lane
I'm taking half your class.
with Lane work at Texas A&M. That's an interesting.
The offense will immediately evolve by 2 decades.
Right.
There's no doubt about
That's
that.
correct.
We've seen
Jackson Dart will be your quarterback next year.
We've seen Lane Kiffin go, and I know he's had his off the field stuff, but we've seen him go and revive programs. If Jimbo Fisher stays and all the transfers stay, I'm still not convinced that he can make all of that work. I understand talent speaks, but you just said it perfectly. Guys like Nick Saban, guys like Urban Meyer, guys that have shown that they can have success with all those recruits, it's because they can then get those guys to translate into college football players. I don't know if Jimbo can do that at A&M.
Let me flip this on its ear, okay? And this is the last thing we'll say about A&M because we've got to move on. Everything I said about the transfer portal could work in his favor. So you lose a couple 5-star freshmen that go somewhere else and get another payday, whatever. Still a lot of talent there, and if you keep more than half of that class, you're good. Just go find you a fucking quarterback. Everybody else can go out and find a quarterback in the transfer portal. If you're paying the money that gets the number 1 class in the country, go get the best fucking quarterback that enters the transfer portal and fix your quarterback situation. Because until you do that, it doesn't matter how many 5-stars you got.
I'm going to take it even further, and I know I've said it on past episodes, but go find an offensive coordinator.
He's not going to do that.
I know he's not, but like that, to me, even if you don't have the best quarterback in the transfer portal, at least you've got a guy that, again, will have an offense that's built for 2023.
I'm going to pose this question, okay? I in this hand, I tell you, you can have the best offensive coordinator in the country next year. In this hand, I say you can have the best transfer portal quarterback. Which one are you taking? Right.
In my current situation,
Anybody can answer this.
I think it depends on the team, and I think it depends on who the head coach is. For me,
I think it's always quarterback.
Oh, I was about to say the other way around.
I think
Really?
I would so much rather have.
I think it's always quarterback. What do you think?
A good OC can make all the pieces fit together.
A good quarterback can make a bad offense look good.
But that doesn't guarantee you about the other players.
I think a good quarterback fixes a lot of teams, fixes a lot of problems. I think that if you have a head coach that refuses to hire somebody that will play an offense that other teams are playing in the era, whatever era it may be, I think you can have the best quarterback in the country, but if you're not playing a scheme that works, it won't matter.
I think it does.
Would Joe Burrow be in the number 1 pick or in the NFL right now as a starter if he went to Texas A&M instead of LSU?
No.
It's
Almost assuredly not.
Yeah, that's
the system.
Yeah.
That's the system.
You don't know the answer to that, but let's just say Jimbo called him up and was like, "Hey, come down to College Station. You'll be the quarterback right away." Obviously, it wouldn't have worked because Mon was there and whatnot. But would he have gone? I think in college football specifically, if you can have an offensive coordinator with a decent quarterback and then a great transfer portal class, and you build around that, it's really important to have all of those units around you.
I mean, we're very possibly in an era, and we're going to move on right after this, possibly in an era where a transfer portal class outweighs a number 1 recruiting class from high school all day, every day.
Absolutely.
All day, every day.
I would rather have a number 1 recruiting class from 2019, like 2020, this year,
of course,
than a number 1 transfer portal. Transfer portal doesn't change that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, USC went from a mediocre team to a playoff contender.
Well, USC was already a very talented team.
Yeah, but they got so much more talented through the portal. So much.
And they also got very
Michigan
talented,
State pretended to be an elite team for 1 year because of the transfer portal.
and they had a lot of bounces go their way.
All right, let's move on.
Ole Miss is still a fraud, and they had the number 1.
They are a gigantic fraud.
But yeah, let's move on.
Let's go through the news that you've got pulled out there.
So basically, Stanford is telling people that they can test drive their seats for next year just to get people in the stands.
For everything I said good about the Pac-12, UCLA's done it this year. Now Stanford's the shot of Stanford Stadium when they were starting the game the other day. It's just embarrassing. And don't tell me, oh, we have more things to do out here than that. You know what's awesome to do on a Saturday in October? Go to a fucking college football game.
Can you imagine being down so bad in attendance that you have to try to convince people to come test drive their seats?
I don't hate it. I
hate it.
I think kids should be able to go to games for free.
Let's say what it is. We're just saying test drive without even saying what it is. What Stanford is doing is saying, hey, come to the last couple games we have at home for free, And if you like the seats, we'll talk to you about buying them for next year. But I like
you get phone number,
Yeah.
email, da 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 da.
yeah. So you're basically giving them your information to sit to watch 2 games for free. I would do that.
The only
at that
thing
stadium.
is for
You know what?
Stanford, Stanford's like an elite institution and whatnot. Do they really want people coming through? Like, if you accept the free offer,
Yes.
Are you a team that's going to have are the people accepting the free offer going to be future?
No, because if they
Purchasers?
were, they'd already be
But
there.
you need sidewalk alumni.
Yep.
You need
Yeah,
Walmart
true.
fans. You have to have Walmart fans.
You need that, but you also know that most of those Walmart fans are going to go for the free games and not pay for next year's tickets. So it's like, congratulations,
yeah,
you
but
give
they'll
away
never
shit
pay.
for free.
But at
This
least you're
is a
selling
shot.
some concessions.
All right, let's move.
I don't
Is
know.
it even full at the peak of the Harbaugh era?
I would think it was. Yeah. So what is
We got a losing Sean Tucker tweet.
Saturday? We lost our first game. Syracuse 21, Clemson 27. I'm not pleased with the outcome of the game. Now it's time to focus on winning out the rest of the season. I'm pleased with my performance, but there's more than I can do, and I'm healthy. 5 carries, 54 yards, 5 receptions, 18 yards, and a TD. Hashtag PL34SED. Hashtag pleased. KJ Henry, Clemson's very good defensive lineman, said, or linebacker, I am hashtag pleased with our performance. Well, only in the second half. Hashtag successful Sunday.
I have some drama on TikTok with his ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
KJ Henry's?
Yeah.
Why?
What's going on,
She was a
Jack?
part of the Real Housewives of Death Valley.
No, I figured.
And then I said when KJ played really well in the first game, I was like, "That's right, Tiff. Like, don't be like City Boys. We up. Like, this is a revenge season." And she's with a not great NBA player. And then she called me Jackie Boy. She was like, "Hey, Jackie Boy."
Oh, I like that.
And then said he broke up with me. Da 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 da. And then she ended up blocking me, which is such.
So
a, like,
wait. When you said there was drama on TikTok, I thought this was like real world drama. No, she's just going at you.
He has personal
I,
drama.
I made it first. I made the first call.
Is that right, Jackie boy?
And then she was like, "Hey, Jackie Boy," and then it was very derogatory.
You know what I just realized? And we need, write it down because we can't say it on the podcast.
Yeah.
We got to tell Jackie Boy a story.
Yeah.
We were going to tell him.
I
As soon when you said Jackie Boy that way, we
Yeah.
got to tell him a story.
We have a story to tell.
We can't tell you on the podcast though.
I don't even know if I want to know the story. It sounds
Yeah.
gross.
Jack, you are Mr. Drama on. Of course, you want to know the story.
You do,
There's no story that's ever been on the internet or anywhere else that you didn't want to know. You're Mr. Story.
Jack. You want to
Sometimes I
know?
want to sit them out.
Okay, so we'll
Check
move
the
on.
Man City score, please.
It's 0-0.
Wait, did you like bet on this or something?
Yes.
Since when do you bet on soccer?
Since I got a
Man
guy.
City
Don't
hasn't.
you tail him.
No,
Fade him.
I
Sorry.
don't tell him. I'd tell him in college football. That's what I ought to do. He's been incredible.
I am the worst Champions League better ever. But if
okay.
I was the greatest Champions League better ever, I would have some extra money to spend.
Well, I was gonna say if Man City wins,
Yeah.
Brandon, you have a little extra cush money per se, extra
Yes.
little
Man City
little
hasn't had a
nest
0-0
egg.
game in ever.
You know what you could buy me?
Some jewelry?
Some light box jewelry.
Yes. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, well, thank you. So they have something that I feel like we really learned together when we were shopping for your wife, all about the stones.
Sure.
So stones are very important.
The preparation,
There's
the
a
cut,
lot, a
the
lot of different
presentation.
things that go into it, the size. They have stones that you'll love, but pricing you'll understand. So remember when we were going through all the different things we were looking at, and you were like, I don't understand why this one is more, if
Yeah,
this is
they
the
were
clarity, this is the
confusing me.
cut. No. Lightbox jewelry, it explains it to you. It's stunning loose stones with transparent pricing. They have lab-grown diamonds that meet all the same standards. But it's transparent pricing. So you know exactly what you're paying for. It's only $800 a carat, Brandon.
Oh, that's good. That's good
And
price
let
for
me
carats.
tell you something. And this is an honest to God thing about not just lightbox jewelry, just in general. Lab cut diamonds are awesome because they're not fake diamonds. They're not cubic zirconium. They're not anything they are actual diamonds that are much more reasonably priced, but they're just as beautiful.
They meet all the same stunning standards of regular diamonds.
You can have stunning custom pieces.
Yes.
That's what I want. So make
Yes,
sure you
queen.
write that down. You can have necklace, pair of earrings, a ring. Jewelry's not just for holidays, but it is here for the holidays,
It
just in time. So you can go and on lightboxjewelry.com
Yep.
right now. You can check it out. You've got somebody nice in your life, somebody special in your life. You can get 10% off with the code unnecessary10. I would make the argument that buying a nice gift for a significant other,
quite
for a
necessary.
mother, a sister, a daughter, is quite necessary. But at Lightboxing, Or
Lightboxjewelry.com. That's LIGHT boxjewelry.com. And get 10% off with code unnecessary10. Again, that's lightboxjewelry.com.
I promise you will not get anyone upset if you do this. That's my guarantee. Everyone loves nice jewelry.
Everyone loves nice jewelry. All right. Now, let's move on through the news, and we'll get to our Q&A part of the show. We're good on time. So, Katie.
We can skip it.
No, but I got the unnecessary roughness tweet. Mike Leach being Mike Leach from 23 hours ago, and it's where he's at his press conference. He's saying, soon if we don't do our job as coaches, our players or their grandkids won't have hands. They're going to evolve without hands. And guys, can I just be honest? I'm a little over the cute Mike Leach press conferences right now. I'd like to just go out and be competitive with Alabama and not have weeks where I'm just embarrassed to be a Mississippi State fan. Could I have that in my life?
This is the age-old thing that a coach can be however he wants in front of a microphone, however he wants at a podium, if you're winning.
I mean,
Nick
I love
Saban
the
can
man.
be an
I love the
asshole,
man.
but as long as he's winning, it's okay. Mike Leach can say funny stuff and click-worthy, clickbait types of things. If you're not winning, it's not cute.
And the other day he said, he believes our players just get scared when the other jersey says Alabama, and that's a fun phrase to say, but
you wish it wasn't true.
You're the coach. Make them not scared. I like do what you got to do at practice to make them not scared.
Right, you're in the same not only conference, division.
Like they're 80 miles down the road.
Right,
like we can go play them at Heritage High School. We can meet them halfway. Like why are we? You're the coach. Make them not scared. I don't know how to do it. If I did, I'd be the coach.
Guys like Mike Leach to fan bases that aren't Mississippi State, the clickbait is funny. Like this is going viral because people love to hear him say crazy stuff. If you're a Mississippi State fan, you don't want to hear that. You're like, I don't want you to say anything if you're not winning.
It's just not fun when you can't compete against Alabama. And I don't care about winning the game. It'd be nice, but just not be a homecoming opponent for him every week. We can't do anything.
No, you can't.
Anyway, all right, move on with the news. On today's show, we're going for an old-fashioned Q&A. Jack did that. I don't have the password.
I watched you do it.
I don't have the password.
I watched you do it.
I do not have the password.
That was my phone he was holding.
That's not true. I watched him log into his own phone.
No, I said I'm tweeting it from my account. That's the second one that I tweeted.
I saw you do this when we sat down.
That's not true.
I did.
Why you think it's pregnancy. You're too hormonal.
You're gaslighting me
You're
now.
hormonal.
You're gaslighting me.
You're just being a woman.
You're gaslighting me. I saw you do this.
I just woman just womaning over here?
I just didn't see the gift that you chose again.
That's the.
Can we not just let it die? You're kicking me while I'm down.
I don't know what you want me to say. That's just a college football gift. I searched college football and Texas A&M yellow leaders come up.
Whatever.
On today's show, we're going for an old-fashioned Q&A. Submit questions about college football here. Notice I did say college football. We'll answer the best 20 on air. Might go over 20, but let's just
I'm going to make the argument that GIF has nothing to do with college football.
I've never heard a podcast referred to on the air.
What? Did I say on the air?
Yeah,
Whatever.
I mean, it's funny.
Why don't you shut the fuck
Live
up?
on the show.
I've never heard me tell you to shut the fuck up. Connor Griffin. That's our guy with a good voice?
Yep.
What's the play/moment that first comes to mind when you think of college football, or the moment that got you hooked on college football in the first place? Now, the moment that got me hooked on college football in the first place probably wasn't a moment. It was just probably growing up with my grandfather, watching and telling him what bets to place. Going to his house and watching Florida State, Miami, the wide right games. Or my first game ever was Mississippi State, Alabama, 1986. We lost 38-3, setting in motion a life of despair. But first, if you say college football play, what's the first play that comes to my mind? I think it's Vince Young running towards the corner against USC.
I have a really outlandish one.
What is it?
When first college football playoff, when I think Michael Thomas threw that pass against Alabama to on the wide receiver pass, and they scored, and I was still kind of young in the belief that Alabama would beat everybody. It wouldn't be close, and Ohio State won that game. That's one of my favorite games ever. And that's when I decided, no, I really want to do a lot with this sport.
That's a good one. From a fan standpoint, the moment is the same thing, Brandon. Like, it was just growing up with my dad and going to those games, and just, again, I'm with you on the train of despair. The first A&M moment that comes to mind is the 1998 Big 12 championship with Sir Parker.
Sir Parker, yeah.
But if you said, like, right now, name the first play as a college football fan that comes to mind, it'd probably be the Bush push.
I can see Sir Parker. He's running towards the right corner of the end zone, and he's running right on the bottom sideline of the screen. I can see that just as clear as day, because that 98 championship day was one of the most outlandish days in the history of college football. None of y'all really lived through it as the way. But
No, because I mean, I was 9.
A&M, yeah.
I was 9, and so that to me, that's like that perfect fandom age where it's like that's all you care about. That's really, you don't have any other things to worry about.
Florida State entered that day number 4 in the country, and they were behind Tennessee, UCLA, and Kansas State. And Tennessee, UCLA, Kansas State, whichever two teams won, were going to play for a national title. Tennessee beat Mississippi State 24-14. Kansas State lost a thriller to Texas A&M in the Big 12 title game, and UCLA lost 49-45 to Miami in a game that was postponed because of a hurricane. I know this. Yeah, this is weird. Okay,
Yeah, your memory.
My
but
favorite moment as a fan is Larry Taylor's fake. Well, he actually put his hand up, but a fake fair catch, and then ran it back for a touchdown against Louisville on Friday Night Football on ESPN at the Rent, 2004.
Do you have one?
Yeah, UNC's upset of Florida State. Nick Weiler, I think, hit like a 50-something yard field goal, walked off.
I remember that.
And then Mia Khalifa tweeted at him that she hopes he tears both his ACLs in the shower
Didn't
that
he
night.
go off
Yep.
throwing the chop? Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out
An
Mia
entire-
Khalifa.
I remember freshman year in the dorms, everyone just rioted.
When you said Mia, North Carolina, I thought you were talking about Mia Hamm for a second. Two totally different Mias.
Yeah, a
Did
little
me and him
different.
go to UNC?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They used to be are they still a soccer powerhouse?
My freshman
Yeah.
year was the first year in 30 years that the seniors on the soccer team graduated without a title. So
Wow.
All right.
Florida State's
Talk about
We
failures.
cannot spend 20 minutes on every question. Alex Bailey, and this is just the
What?
the bitchdom shown by college football fans is unmatched in any sport. The fact that you guys, when anybody says anything just remotely questioning or non-dick sucking of your team, you think we hate you. Alex Bailey says, why does Brandon hate Clemson and the rest of the ACC? Was it not a couple weeks ago when I was saying
Trying
Clemson?
to get that guy a job, I think.
Was it not a couple weeks ago I was saying
Go
Clemson?
back to his name.
It's Alex Bailey. Was it not a couple weeks ago?
I tried to get that guy.
Just let me say what I'm going to say!
Oh, don't throw high noons. You know what happens.
we only have so
around
many
here.
tailgate packs left.
And you know what happens when you throw high noons at this company.
Why wouldn't he let me just say what I was saying?
Well, he wanted to figure out who he was.
Well, I know, but he kept doing it 3 times.
Well, say what you want to say now.
I don't want to now.
It was a few weeks ago that you were saying that Clemson was the
Most
number
playoff
one
ready
yes,
team, yes.
Yes, the
and
number
now
one
I said
most
the other
playoff ready
day,
team.
I did the way they beat Syracuse didn't impress me. And why does Brandon hate Clemson? Quit being such a little bitch.
You guys okay? Jack did not like that. Jack did not like that outburst.
I didn't like his outburst.
He didn't have an outburst.
It's in the past.
That was crazy.
some old
Just let
shit.
me say what I'm going to say.
Some old shit.
I'll remember that.
Oh.
Oh, I remember it too.
We're on double remembrance. I'm over it.
You know what?
I'm
I'll
fine.
remember it. I'll remember
I
it.
was never mad.
I wasn't mad either. I should have.
Well,
I should
I'm
have
the one
let
that
you
should be
talk.
mad.
I should have let you
Should
talk.
have let me talk.
I was just like, wait. I tried to get that guy a job.
I understand that. You said it 3 times. I kept stopping and going back.
Yeah.
Did we try to get the guy a job?
I don't remember. Jack knows
See what
more
you
than
did,
I do.
Alex Bailey, you little bitch. Did you try to get that guy a job for real?
Yeah, for
Why?
real. Because he actually he's a talented editor. Actually.
Nah,
Yeah, he's an editor for.
Is he just a pussy?
No, I don't know him personally. He was recommended to me from a friend, and then I looked at his edits and I was like, oh, this guy's actually really good.
Nick Presley says if you had to do a fantasy football draft for college football, I believe he believes all time, excluding the obvious answers like Burrow, Cam, Tebow, Herschel, just to make it more difficult. Who's the first pick of the draft? Well, if you exclude all the number 1 picks, then what's the point? Side note, y'all should do an actual all-time fantasy snake draft for fun. Like, he just took out so many good ones.
Yeah, well, also it just says like excluding the obvious. Like I wouldn't
I
put
don't
like
like that.
Herschel.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a bad question.
well,
That's a bad
can
question.
I say this? I don't think it's a bad question. In theory, he made it too complicated.
But if you're
which
doing an
made it a bad
all-time fantasy
question.
draft, don't exclude the obvious ones.
Right.
Because they're the ones you need to use.
Exactly. That's
Where
what
do
I'm
you
saying.
stop at obvious?
Right,
Like
that's where you
everybody
don't know.
could. Like, is Vince Young obvious? I
Is
think
Pat
he is.
White obvious?
That's the Nick. Here's the thing. The question in theory, great question.
Can we get the high noons
The
back up here?
complications made it not a great question because we don't know where we draw the line at obvious.
Z Harlow Does Oklahoma State stand a chance to win out and redeem their loss against TCU a couple of weeks and win the Big 12 and possibly make the playoff? Yeah, they do stand that chance. I absolutely believe they could win out, and I believe they could redeem their loss against TCU. I don't know if one-loss Oklahoma State's going to make the playoff as the playoff is currently constituted, but they would have a chance to do it.
They would have a chance. There would have to be a lot of like weird shit
Where
to
are they at,
happen.
like 10 or 11 right now? They're in striking distance.
And a one-loss Oklahoma State is not going
And
to
that
supersede a one-loss SEC or Big Ten team.
It might.
You think?
If that one-loss team is Michigan, and if the Penn State win doesn't age, Michigan's resume is going to be shitty. If Michigan loses to Ohio State by more than 2 touchdowns, and the Penn State win doesn't age well, Michigan has no resume.
That's fair, but then you start getting into like the numbers of things. I think that if you like, let's not talk about sports. If Michigan plays Ohio State really closely,
Right,
and only loses by like 3, I think that they would get in over Oklahoma State.
again, by 3, that at least gives them a close game against Ohio State. But Oklahoma State will have they'll have a win over TCU at that point, who's going to be 10-2, 11-1, and their only loss will be a road overtime loss to that TCU team that they then avenged. Like,
Okay, well then you look at a one-loss SEC team.
one-loss SEC team, it depends on who it is. If it is Tennessee, they have a resume. They have a really good resume. Michigan's problem, and they bitched about it, but if they lose to Ohio State and the Penn State win doesn't age the way they need it to, the resume is not there. And they got the name, but they need a couple things to happen. They need Penn State to win out or not go 10-2 after they lose to Ohio State. And then they need Illinois to stay strong for that Saturday, November 19th game.
Agreed.
If those 2 things happen, Michigan has the semblance of a resume, but their resume wouldn't even come close to Oklahoma
Okay,
State.
then here's my question too with Oklahoma State: one-loss Oklahoma State versus a one-loss Pac-12 champion.
Probably the Pac-12 champion, I would think.
So it will take a whole lot for.
It would take a whole lot, but they would at least be in the conversation.
Yes.
All right, let's go back to the questions, please. Nicholas, anybody know how to say that? Mizik?
Mizik.
Yep.
Mizik?
Mizzy picks. So yeah.
If you had the
picks.
chance to be commissioner of the entire college football and had the ability to change anything you could, what would you change? How would you ensure level recruiting? What kind of division realignment would you consider? That's just a ridiculous amount of questions.
I like it though.
He was giving examples.
What would you
Expand
change?
the playoff would be number 1. I mean, easily.
Yeah, but that is coming, so we know it's coming to a 12 team. I
think I would set up perfectly a role of relegation, set up everybody in conferences that are perfectly aligned, and also set it up so there's teams that can rise up. So if you're the UCFs and you're like, oh, we don't get a fair chance, okay, you have to go from the G5 now up to the Power 5 level 2, and then if you continue to win there, you go up to Power 5 level 1, and then you're in it. And you can also fall as well.
I would go a lot more micro than that. If I could change one thing in college football, I would get rid of the 15-yard and ejection targeting. I think players getting ejected for often incidental or accidental targeting is the dumbest thing we do in sports. There's no reason that should have an ejection tag to it. I've been watching bowl games before where seniors playing their last game accidentally hits a guy face-to-face or helmet-to-helmet, and they're not trying to do that. That's just the way circumstances happen, and now they miss the rest of that game. That's bullshit. Nobody watching, nobody participating in college football wants that rule.
I agree. I'll go bigger picture, and this is an impossible fix. But if I was the commissioner of the entire college football, I would say we're completely done with the NCAA's regulation over this sport.
Yeah,
I would be done with it.
Well, we're heading there anyway.
I would make my own entity.
She's a dictator.
So you're now the NCAA.
I would create my own version of the NCAA.
NCAA's.
Brandon. That's pretty good. High five.
I mean, she paid for
But
them.
then in 30 years, there'll be another Kayce Smith, and they'll be like, we got to get rid of
Definitely,
NCAAs.
but I would want to be the new.
Well, what a 30 years.
Yeah, what a 30
What a
year
30
run.
years. And you think about it too. It's like
the Roman Empire.
We hate the BCS, the computer system, to the point where we got rid of it to go to the playoff. Right now we're evolving the playoff. Eventually it'll be something else. I could be that person. I could be the way that we felt about the playoffs. I could be that for the NCAA.
Groves Sharper says, who has the better next decade, Ohio State or Georgia?
Identical?
I feel like we're splitting hairs at that
I
point.
say I have an answer.
Okay.
I think it's Ohio State, and I'll tell you why. If in 4 years, 6 years, Kirby Smart got tired, Kirby Smart left, Kirby Smart got fired for doing something, God knows what. Who knows what the future could hold? If Kirby Smart left, I don't think Georgia stays up. Anybody could go to Ohio State. I think any coach goes to Ohio State right now and keeps them going. Ryan Day went from Urban Meyer and has been right there. I think they're a harder program to fuck up than Georgia because there's less competition around them.
And to further that, which you're absolutely right, you just said it with the last sentence, when you look at the SEC, teams like Tennessee that are on the up and up, it's like we don't know exactly how, quote, easy the SEC East is going to be for Georgia.
Yeah.
Ohio State is the cream of the crop and seems to be, I mean, I know Michigan's right there too, but the SEC seems to be more leveling out than the Big Ten.
Now
Georgia's a shark swimming around other shark-infested waters, and Ohio State's just a big, gigantic whale in a pond full of guppies, with one other whale trying to grow to their level.
100%. The next for Georgia, I don't want to poo-poo like what Mark Richt did there though, because like a coach can come in there and still recruit very, very well, and he has the boosters, he has a footprint within Georgia. But you're right, like it's going to be harder. So if there's anything there, probably Ohio State. But I think over the next decade, both probably win a championship or two.
11,373 votes. If the SEC is the best conference, who's the second best conference in 2022? The Big Ten now 56% of the vote. Big 12, 23% of the vote. Pac-12, 13% of the vote. ACC, 8% of the vote.
That doesn't surprise
Well,
me.
ACC I think is fifth. Are we agreeing?
I would agree with that.
Yes.
I think I have the Big 12 fourth. Just the lack of an elite team puts them down there. They're a good conference, and they're a very interesting conference, but I would put them behind the Big 10 3, Pac-12 2. All right, let's roll on. Matt Stafford, if each of you guys could take one person from any team in the country and put them on your team, who would it be? Yes.
Jim
CJ
Knowles.
Stroud.
Hold on. You?
Jim Knowles.
Okay. Defensive coordinator? You?
CJ Stroud. I was going with just player.
I pushed
that
the
though.
boundary.
I like that because it goes back to what I was saying. I'd rather have an offensive coordinator. That was if in therapy it's like you show a photo and you're like first thing that comes to mind, CJ Stroud.
Is this player automatically healthy if he joins my team?
Yes.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Give me the best receiver in the country.
Is he going to be fully healthy at all this year? I feel every week
There's no reason to rush him back because they're so good.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he's somebody that's saying, "Hey, I'm going to the NFL." Obviously, I'm not going to rush back either.
Yeah, I every week I have notifications on for one of those injury accounts, and it's just game time decision.
All right, now yours.
Mine, I think, would be C.J. Stroud, a quarterback specifically for. I mean, it would just be.
I got the
amazing.
quarterback. I just need the receivers.
I don't
That is
got
true.
shit. I need
You
an
need a
offensive
quarterback.
coordinator. I need a quarterback. I need.
KC commenter says, is Clemson the most overrated team in college football right now? I don't think they played well at all the last 2 years, at least to their standard, and they're consistently ranked in the top 5 to 10. Well, by the numbers, they do have a good resume this year. They have beaten 3 ranked teams. They've beaten NC State. They've beaten Wake Forest. They've beaten Syracuse, who's 6-1 and number 16 in the country. So they do have a good resume right now. So I don't know that I'd say they're the most overrated team. I think TCU at 7 is probably the most overrated
I
team.
think that it goes back to the way we've felt about the ACC for a while now. There are more teams in the ACC in that conversation, like you said, Syracuse, Wake. However, in the recent past, it's been like, well, if Clemson's not in the playoff for the ACC, like the conference doesn't really come into any type of fruition at the end of the year. That's the reason that still feels that way, because if Clemson does start to struggle, then they're no longer the cream of the crop of that conference. They are, but it feels like they're
Elijah
not.
says, what is Clemson's conference record if they were in the SEC East? Well, it depends. Have they played Tennessee and Georgia yet? If they haven't, they're undefeated. If they have, they're probably 6-1 or 7-1. They probably split those games. I think they lose to Georgia. Depends on where they play.
I think they would lose to both Georgia and Tennessee
I
right
think
now.
they might beat Tennessee at home. They wouldn't win in Knoxville. I think they lose to Georgia wherever they play them.
If Syracuse could move the ball the way that they did, and it wasn't always perfect because Clemson's defense is still very, very good. Can you imagine what Hendon Hooker and Bryce Young would do?
By the way, statistically, Clemson's defense
Stetson Bennett
is just okay.
I don't think that's true. Like on Saturday, they didn't play poorly.
I think that I looked them up yesterday. They're like 12th 24th against the run. They're like their stats.
They're not elite. You're
Their
right.
counting numbers are not elite. This
You're
is
right.
not. Yeah.
It's not one of those elite Clemson. Now, I just wanted, speaking of defenses, this was a point that Katie just made that I really want to focus on. We're not giving enough credit to Jim Knowles. What he's done to that Ohio State defense is really spectacular. That was our big question coming into the year. Now it's like, wait, they have a really good defense.
Now wait a minute.
Yeah.
And you're right. So far, it looks like that. I feel like I could have hired you at Ohio State with that talent, and if I told you to
But why
stop
did it work
Wisconsin,
last year?
stop Iowa, stop Notre Dame.
Yeah, why didn't it work last year?
More or less same talent last year did not work.
I don't know that. Did they play Iowa last year? Did they play Notre Dame last year?
Tulsa was running the ball
They
all
not
over
play
them last
offenses this bad last year.
Oregon.
Oregon was good. Like where's that?
They
Come
did score like 49 on them, though.
That's fine, but I'm just telling you, we're assuming a lot on the Ohio State defense, and so far so good. But where should they have been tested? Who on their schedule should have tested?
There's not like a high-powered offense that's come
I mean,
over.
who's
and
going
Who,
to?
who's I think Maryland will at least test them. Penn State could test them. Michigan obviously will test them. So let's get through those 3 games. And so far, tremendous passing grade. But here's their schedule so far. They played Notre Dame's offense. They played Arkansas State, whatever. They played Toledo, whatever. Wisconsin, they give up 21. They played Rutgers, Michigan State, Iowa. Where's an offense worth anything there? There's not one yet.
Yeah,
There's not. You're right.
Now they got Penn State coming up. Northwestern's god awful. Yeah,
That Toledo offense isn't bad. I know it's a MAC team, though.
it's a MAC team, and they're just completely outclassed as far. They got their last 5 games: Penn State, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan. 3 of those offenses are pretty good.
Can I we talked about this a bunch, but let's just say, I mean, we've been assuming that Ohio State's going to beat Michigan when you're talking about Michigan. I know that their non-conference is stronger, but they've got the same situation that Michigan does.
Correct.
If Ohio State gets beat by 2 touchdowns and Michigan, runs them out of the building, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's say that happens, and Penn State's does it like their rest of their season looks like that? They're in the exact same boat.
I think Ohio State would be worse because they would have lost a home game to Michigan, where it looks even worse. But I think when doing the hypotheticals, I give Ohio State the win over Michigan because they are in fact in Columbus. So
then if you look at the opposite, neither one of those teams need Penn State to fall off the rails.
Revenge season at Burner Poke says, why is Oklahoma State continuously disrespected by the national media each year? Shut up, you little bitch. Also,
Because you never win a big game.
because every time you get in a big spot, you fail.
Mike Gundy's.
That's the truth. Mr. Perfect, great name. Which team is going to finish 5th in the final college football playoff rankings? I mean, that's it could be the loser of the Ohio State Michigan game. Could be the loser of the Georgia Tennessee game. Could be the winner of the Pac-12. Could be the winner of the Big 12.
What an interesting way to ask who's going to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Who's the team? Who's going to finish 5th?
Gray the Great says, who could you see being the biggest player to enter the transfer portal after this season? I think Cade McNamara is one.
Hank Backmeyer's in there right now.
I had a good one earlier when I saw this. Fuck. I had a good one earlier when I saw this.
Cade McNamara is probably the best answer.
I mean, those Texas A&M freshmen.
I mean, could things go really south at Texas and they're like, we're going with Arch? Could Quinn go again?
I don't think so.
Can you imagine?
It depends on which players, which coaches move. It depends on. So, fuck, I had a good one earlier. Cade McNamara is definitely one, though. I mean, he's definitely entering the transfer portal. What are the best and worst case options for Auburn's new head coach? Best case,
Lane Kiffin.
They get back and okay. Lane Kiffin is going to take that job. He's their new coach.
I think that's what they mean. That question.
I thought it meant okay. Worst case, I don't know. Rehire Gene Chizik.
I was going to say worst case, keep Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
We keep every week. I feel like we keep saying this is the week, and he still has a job.
Cameron Bowman says, they're saving on buyout money. Cameron Bowman says, with the new college football playoff format, should there be an automatic bid for the highest rated G5 team? I say absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I think something should trigger it. If you
meet certain qualifications.
Yes, if you're within the top 15.
Yeah.
Or but
you have like 2
I
Power
don't think
5
there should be
wins.
like this year. There's nobody.
A team can't jump from 30 to 12. If you're already in the top 20,
Yeah.
okay. But like maybe you have to have like 2 wins over Power 5 or something. I don't know.
I think that the win, that's a good idea.
I think
Jack.
you can
It's
have
like,
no losses outside the Power 5.
You got to be undefeated.
yeah, you got to be undefeated unless it's to a Power 5 school, because otherwise, like if it's like even at 25, even at
If it's,
if
if
it's
SMU's 11-1, they lost to Memphis, then no.
I agree.
Tulane, Southern Miss, perfect example.
Some people are saying Tennessee broke Alabama fans. Is that true? Says Dylan Everhard. They're trying to get Alabama to re-record Dixieland Delight and make it about Alabama. Oh, that's incredible. Is that true?
No, that's got to be a
I hope
troll.
it's a troll, but
Isn't that by? Is Alabama still around? That band?
Oh, they're still. I think they're on their. I went to their farewell tour in 2004, and they're still doing tours.
So that's the best thing. Like
has there ever been a real farewell tour?
George Strait's had like 9.
George Strait's still going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
The Alabama fans, Jack, I will say, whenever you posted the clip of me and Big T talking about them being the sorest losers, they did not enjoy that.
Well, they didn't like Big T shitting on Tuscaloosa. They did not like
At
that.
Danny Cocozella, Tuscaloosa sucks. At Danny Cocozella, first coach to reach the playoff: Mario Cristobal, Mike Norvell, Billy Napier.
None.
How about 0 for 3?
Did you see that quote from Mario Cristobal?
I would vote Mario Cristobal out of those 3.
Did you see
you
the
go back to
quote
Oregon.
about the media?
Yeah, it's dumb. Yeah.
I mean, I get what he's saying, but also it's like, hey, I see your point, but no one was expecting you to lose to Duke by 24 points at home.
Or Middle Tennessee
Right.
State.
Yeah, like
Luke Francis, out of the remaining undefeated teams, who can take a loss and it hurts their playoff chances the least. Ooh.
I think.
See, now here's where the caveats, semantics.
Oh,
Are we
think-
talking about in the
I don't
regular
think anybody
season?
can take a loss.
I don't think anybody can take a loss.
What about
'cause-
Georgia?
I was gonna say
no, they can't.
If it's
Because
not,
they're not going to get the conference title game. They cannot take a loss.
But-
they put
but-
themselves at risk.
Could they take a loss in the conference
All
title game?
all four of the Big Ten, the Big Ten, the SEC, Tennessee, Georgia,
They could.
Michigan, Ohio State. You cannot lose in the regular season and
regular
not have it
season.
dramatically affect your.
Like if Alabama loses, they're done.
Alabama loses, they're done, but they're not
1,000%.
undefeated. That they're the remaining undefeated
Like
teams.
so what
That's-
if Tennessee loses to Georgia, but then Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC title game?
the Tennessee's still at very big risk of not making the playoff.
Georgia though. What about Georgia?
I don't know if if you want to risk not being a conference champion
Oh,
at that point.
no. Well, nobody wants to, but I'm saying like I think of all the options, Georgia would have
I think
the
there's
best case if they lose in the SEC title game.
the best case, actually. The best case for these teams would be Tennessee losing to Kentucky,
Yes.
then beating Georgia and getting the conference championship game, and then that they will have taken a loss and be just fine. Or Georgia losing to somebody like Mississippi State, for example, which is so far-fetched at this point. I'm just going to keep saying it to try to will it
Is
back
that this
into existence.
weekend?
November 12th. We're off this weekend, thank God. MT
Bye weeks are
Morris,
so great,
at
aren't
what,
they?
At what point does Penn State become a contender? What do they have to do to become one?
Get
Fire
rid of
James
James
Franklin.
Franklin.
S. Bizzle 8.
I disagree, but
They're 0-10 in the last 10 against top 10 teams,
I
and they
know.
do not look the same when they play a top 10 team.
who would you get at Penn State though? Does it matter?
I know who would win at Penn State, and y'all don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it.
Who?
Dan Mullen would destroy at Penn State
Oh, okay.
because that's a place that recruits itself.
All right.
Dan Mullen would destroy at Penn State.
I'm fine with hearing that.
Will more players exhaust all their eligibility now that they can potentially make more from NIL than as a day 2-3 draft pick? No, because your money isn't made as a draft pick in the NFL. It's made in your second contract. So the faster you can get to a second contract, the better you are. Plus, nobody who's going to be a day 2 or day 3 draft pick is going to make more from NIL than they would as a day 2 draft pick.
This is much more of a trend in college basketball though, because
Yes.
there's less roster spots.
Yeah.
There's less, and most players would rather stay in college, be a star, than go and play in the G League and like take the bus or be in Europe somewhere.
I do think that there will be. It won't be like a mass thing, but I do think there will be some players that really want to help their family immediately, and that's why they jump into the draft, even if they know they're not going to be a high pick. That could potentially say, okay, if I can make X amount on an NIL deal, I'll stay for one more year. But I think it's going to be very rare.
M. Vandrel out of Texas A&M, Mississippi State, North Carolina, and UConn. Which team makes this college football playoff first? I mean, the only one that's ever going to be qualified to make the playoff, if they ever get right, is A&M. That's just
I mean,
the truth.
yes.
You could see North Carolina going on.
I could see North Carolina, but UConn, Mississippi State, just probably not in the cards. Jay White, what's Iowa going to do with Ferentz? I feel like this is 1999 with Fry, and we're going to end up at the bottom again. You need to fire him. Iowa needs to fire Kirk Ferentz. Iowa needs to end the Kirk Ferentz. It's been a great couple decades, been fantastic, but you are underachieving, and you're not set up to achieve ever again with this offense. You have to go your separate ways. Kirk Ferentz will never win big at Iowa again. That day is done.
It was a good run. Have him retire.
Fantastic run.
Reassign him in the athletics program.
Alex Chizum.
Special advisor.
What disappointing teams do you think will finish strong?
You guys have too much talent.
I agree. But you do understand where I'm coming from, why I would roll my eyes at that. I mean, this is...
But you
we are not only potentially not making a bowl game, we're knocking on the door of not making a bowl game.
You're playing some like Ole Miss is fake and phony, and you get them at home. Auburn's not good at all. You have UMass.
UMass, fine.
LSU's live.
LSU, they're going to lose to
rough.
LSU. Here's my question. I understand that you say Ole Miss is fake and phony. How is A&M going to score points?
Pretty easily. That defense is garbage.
With who as the quarterback?
Whoever the quarterback is, handing off to A-Chain, he could run for 250 yards this week.
I think a great answer here is Oklahoma. They could find a way to finish 9-3.
Whew, that'd be something. Notre Dame could finish strong too.
Yeah, and especially they could make a huge
because they've
noise.
got Clemson coming up. They got USC coming up.
They could make waves.
They could really affect this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They got Syracuse this weekend, so they play a lot of teams. Continue. Does an undefeated TCU get in the playoff? Austin Colmia. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If they're undefeated, yeah, probably.
Undefeated and conference champion.
Certainly, it would be hard to keep them out. What are some things you'd rather do than watch Iowa Northwestern this weekend?
Have sex.
I think he's saying what bad things would you do other than...
Yeah.
Why? Why does it... What would you rather do?
Yeah, but it's like, this game is so bad, I'd rather do this.
I'd rather mow the lawn.
Poke my eye with a sharp stick.
Correct.
Watch paint dry.
I'd rather have sex with a rhinoceros.
Well, we don't condone bestiality.
I saw a tweet today from a vegan that said I would rather have sex with an animal than eat it. That's committed to the bit.
I'd rather eat it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Also,
we do that all the time.
Obviously, we eat animals every day.
I did it today.
I had chicken just like an hour ago.
I will say I saw a cow waiting for his owner to cross the street the other day on viral.
No, stop.
There's a joke about eating it and being foreplay or something.
Oh, wait, what, Jack? He was waiting for his owner?
And then the owner came, and then he crossed the street. I was
Stop.
like, damn.
Is Checker Nealon better than Penn State wideout? Be honest. Lou
Yes.
Peachum. No.
I had people got mad at me. I said that if Penn State whiteout is not your number one college football bucket list, you're doing it wrong.
I disagree with that.
I disagree.
What's your
LSU
number
is
one?
I
better.
disagree with that, yeah.
LSU what?
Continue. Just
LSU night
period.
game is again
Every
the
SEC
whiteout
stadium.
The whiteout, the whiteout at Penn State's very cool. It's
going.
not
Popeye's Chicken Elite.
It's
all right.
LSU at night is elite.
It's not bad.
Well, someone hasn't been to many. That's still my number one.
What?
Call me Shaggy 57. The fans are just so goddamn dumb and whiny. Since Tennessee racked up ranked wins early, and now some of those teams are no longer ranked, people are trying to claim they don't count. In the past, people said they don't look as great as they did then, but now Tennessee gets them, so they don't count. Thoughts? This isn't unique to you, big orange fucking idiots. Welcome back to football. It's great to have you. Good. But every year, a team will beat number 5. Do you think anybody thinks Ohio State beat the number 5 team in week 1? No, they didn't. They do not get credit for that. You're not the only ones. Clemson, when they beat NC State, they were number 6 or 7 in the country. Now they're number 24. Clemson doesn't get credit for that the way they got credit for that. Tennessee fans, I know your big orange hillbilly-ass state hasn't been relevant in 20 years, but just because you haven't been doesn't mean we've changed the rules for you, okay? You have the best resume in football. You beat Alabama. You beat Pitt. You beat some good teams. But we're not changing the fucking rules for you. God damn it. Y'all want to end the show?
Yeah.
That'll be an awesome clip.
But you're right. They're acting like that's the first time it's ever happened in the history of college football.
No, everybody goes through this where they beat number 7 or 10 early.
TCU.
TCU. Like this happens. This happens where, and by the way, when you beat whatever Pitt was in 16, let's say they were number 16.
18.
You beat Pitt early, and Pitt's lost to Georgia Tech since. You shouldn't get credit for that win.
Let us not forget that The matchup at Kyle Field in College Station against A&M and Miami was a top 20 matchup.
The last year, Penn State and Iowa in Iowa City was number 2 against number 3. Like these things change.
By the way, that every time you say that, it's still unbelievable. I know it happened. I lived through it. It's unbelievable.
Let's end the show. We'll be back Thursday to run down the slate. You good?
Yeah,
I'm good.
perfect.
You good?
Yep.
You good?
Yeah, I can't
Happy
wait for the
birthday,
weekend.
Kayce Smith.
Oh, thank you.
DM her, tell her happy birthday.
And ask for feed pics.
Huh?
No, you got to pay for them.
That's unnecessary roughness.